tonic. I mean, at the beginning, not as a proper dominant, as a minor fifth. Yeah. So that's why you could prepare. If not, you couldn't use this chord. Yeah. So very good. A couple of things. I'm looking. Couple of things that might, especially at the end. Let's see. Who can tell me at the end if they spot something?
On anything.
Anything. Anything. Feel free. Feel free. Iris as well. Huh?
I don't see anything horrible.
No, that, whoa, who said horrible? I mean, whoa, I mean, just, careful with the language there.
Yeah, don't see anything horrible. Not. Actually, no, I don't see anything. Can't see anything.
I mean, usually we use the dominant at the end as the proper dominant.
That's what I thought, but
that's what I say usually. Exactly. Usually, why? But why should we use the dominant with the raised seventh at the end? Because she used it there. I mean, fine. But then she didn't. And this is the perfect authenticator 251. Yeah.
Actually, about that one, about the dominant, must
Yes.
it, can the sol escape? Can the G escape and go to do, or must it go too far to F for sure? The G natural, can it leap?
Well, this one, but that's why. I mean, this is an exception in a way. Yes. In a way, this is an exception because the G was supposed to go to the F. It won't go. If it's a G sharp or raised seventh, it has to go to the tonic. So in this case, clearly we have an exception in the cadence. Now, if you're going to do something new, always choose a cadence to do that. In the case, not something new motivically, something new or exceptions. The cadences are, yes, the place.
But on the second, the third chord, I don't think.
And then you have the second to the third, What are you talking about?
Second, the third bar.
Second to the third.
Yes, the sol. That sol, I don't think, can it this?
No.
Yeah.
Cannot be. Exactly. There's the G note, Laura. Yes, remember you have the four pivot notes. Yes, the seventh natural goes to the sixth, and then you have the raised seventh going to the tonic, and the raised sixth going to the raised seventh. Yeah, so that's why the leap, yes, is not the best way to lead, yes, the seventh chord, the seventh, the seventh note, yes. For now, yeah, you will see that that will not be the case. In this case, for example, you put the G, yes, you used in the seventh, and then you went to the F, and then you went to the D, the E, sorry. That is it's fantastic. Or let's say the F going to the E, to the sixth, going to the fifth, yeah. That that was a good solution, yeah. But in general, very good, very well done, yeah. And I was going to say something.
Are we allowed to do? I think we are. I don't know why we wouldn't be, but are we allowed to do the 1 6 4 5 this way without
this?
to the 5 going up, not going down, the voices. Because they are all, 2 of them are having a skip.
This has a special name.
Yes. I didn't know.
No. When you have these notes on the soprano, and becomes the note on the alto.
No, it's not overlapping.
No, it's not overlapping. Yes.
Crossing.
Kind of a crossing. No crossing of the voices. I mean, if you have thirds, yes, it's not that bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying the usually the do will go to C, the la will go to sol. But now they're.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know why we wouldn't be allowed, but I just think.
Laura. What I'm saying is the C. The tendency for the voices is actually going towards the B, to this note, not to
I cannot put it to it.
Exactly. Yeah. So not, but it's not that it's forbidden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes you need to change the register. Yeah. So, but very well done. Very well done. Yes. Better than the last one, and then you have used inversions. Yes. And well, no, not that. This one, I will suggest I mean, when you have to finish, yes, a work in minor, unless you want a weak cadence, yes. Remember that Schonberg never says, "Oh, this is wrong, this is bad, this is good." This is a weak cadence. This is not a proper perfect assessing cadence. Maybe you want to, I don't know, end the phrase, yes, or if you see that, yes, you will in a piece, you will know immediately that if the seventh note phrase is not the proper ending of a section or a phrase or the piece, yes, or, but this is a little more advanced, it will be a modal harmony, yes. When I say modal harmonies, that they're using purely the modes without any tonal alterations of the 6th or the 7th. But you have to see that throughout, yes, the piece. Or it's modulating, okay? Many things can happen. Okay, but very good. Very well done. Now this is yours. So, in this case, Laura and Georgios, you're up. as well as me, yes, of course. Let's listen to it. Well, another exception here. Seventh, and then the first. So you have the 4. You have the 4. Okay. Then you go to the 7th, but the 7th, I'm not quite sure about this. What is going on? Yes, here it is.
See a way to fix it. You can see it.
Oof. Okay.
Because there's no leading note, so that's an issue, and also there's no. Actually, that's the biggest problem. So I think if we just put the leading note, the 7th is already prepared. We can prepare the 5th, the diminished 5th, by the soprano singing the re, the D, instead of C, and C will be B, and we'll go to the alto. Yes. And B will go to the. No, you think? Is it not allowed to do a downward? What is it? Diminished 5th?
No, we have to change this. If not, we have to do something with the G. But this one can be here.
That's what I said, yeah.
Ah, okay. Sorry, didn't hear. So you
Maybe
have,
go to la, maybe, not to me.
yeah, me is not the happiest, right?
To me is unnecessary. And I think it's fine. With its sol sharp, G sharp.
Exactly, that's why I said that we have to do something with this joint. So there you go.
It's allowed, no? It's allowed. Diminished fifth going down from the previous point.
You have this one, yes, the diminished fifth is prepared, is resolved, yes, good. Exactly, like what you said, well, we have to arrange it to the voices a little bit, so this will sound like this. Well,
Still, it's not a dominant, like of a cadence.
exactly. No, it's not a cadence. It can be a weak cadence. Which is the cadence in Caping that is weakened the fifth? What's the name? Very good. Abandoned cadence. Very good. It can be a abandoned cadence. Maybe. Yes.
But why, theoretically, we could say
No,
also,
this is no. They should. I mean, I was trying to
if there was no leading note,
to find an option.
it sounded like a like a like a deceptive. It sounded like we were in the major before.
Exactly, because the result that's a danger. It is if you do a dominant on the seventh, it sounds like you're in C major, and it's a deceptive to the sixth of the sixth degree, the submedian, being in major on the relative major, but the exercise is in A minor. So the what was the product at the end of the day of putting a G seventh and a A minor? Yes, a tonic. Like Gilio said, it was heard as a major, as a C major, going to the deceptive, but beyond that, we have another issue that the first goal, okay, uh, is to reinforce the key that you're in. Harmonically, that's your mission. That's your primary mission. First, you have to tell the listener, I am on this key. Yeah? Because the way that Schonberg thinks the book, that says at the beginning, I think is very clever, is first I will teach you to reinforce your key. Yes, to settle in one key. Yes, to generate a centripetal force, yes, around a chord, which that is the tonal system. That is the tonal system. And if you see all when you're composing music, of course, we are studying one of the five contributing elements, yes, of the music. Remember, you have the melody, the sound, the harmony. Yeah. You have the rhythm, and you have the growth. Yes. So we are studying one. Yeah. And at the beginning of a piece, to form this, yes, gravitational center around a specific chord, and that's part of the tone system. That is what we're studying now, let's say. Yeah? Everything, all the rules that we have seen so far is either to learn to how to do it, and then in doing so, we are also we are extrapolating that knowledge in, for example, the example of Laura, that she can see, yes, she's not very interested in composing, that's totally fine, but as an analyst, she can see, say, okay, how the composer, yes, is settling this key, and whatever you do it against, or you're not doing it, the expression will be, I am not I don't want to reinforce the tone. I want to go away. Yes, that's the meaning of the whole thing about fixing the chord. Yes, nothing wrong with the chord. The G7 with a minor, but the intention behind. Yes, everything. And then if you see the whole index of the book of harmony, Schonberg is first I'm going to teach you how to reinforce, to create, yes, this gravitational field around the chord, and then I will teach you how to go away. Yes, for now, all the intention of all our exercises is that pretend that you're composing a piece and you have to very confidently say, I am in A minor. Yeah? If you look at all the pieces, yes, everything is, all the pieces, when I say all the pieces, yes, not the whole corpus of the whole, all music, yes, classical, let's baroque, classical, romantic, let's keep it in those boundaries. They're very aware of settling the tonality, in a secure way. You see it is. Yeah? I don't know, what did you think about that chord? What is the, maybe you thought, oh, I want to do something. Maybe you had an idea, but that, didn't work.
I hear it, that it feels like a deceptive, but no, I know I should have gone to the third and then be to the cadence one, but mm, no, I was
And
thinking
why from the seventh to the third?
anything.
The,
I should have gone from the seventh or what, I don't know,
the
but I
seventh to the
understand.
fifth. The seventh to the, wait, what? I don't quite get it. The
No,
seventh to the which one?
the third,
The seventh to the third.
I don't understand why actually.
not to finish, but like after that.
Seven.
That's the resolution of the seventh, yes.
Yes,
Yeah. But so like a prolonged. Okay, yeah.
I
Like
said
a
I should have gone to the third after the seventh, and then do a cadence to one.
day. Okay,
And then yes, I know, I can hear it, but
there you
yes,
go.
I see what you mean.
Fantastic. Very good. And then good.
That dominant as well. G sharp.
Yeah, this can be perfectly a G sharp.
Yes, exactly. It's
We're
everything
talking
is
about the same thing. And also because the voice lead will be correct. A, G sharp, A.
and it's the second is paired and resolved with the seventh. The previous chord perfectly to that dominant.
Yeah, this is prepared and resolves like it's exactly very good. Yes, and it resolves on the chord that you're supposed to resolve, and your voice is supposed to resolve. Yes.
The
What I'm doing is, yes, Iris and Gurius or Laura. What I'm doing here is not. It's just to visually see the
and the
preparation.
and the A, sorry.
Sorry.
And the A. Seventh. Hmm.
Both of them diminished, and the seventh beautiful. The only thing was that at the end it was like, huh. Now you listen to it. Yeah. The only thing I will say is that 44, yes, you are used.
But what to say? I was.
Come on, you say Georgios, come on, say it. Second
Not
bar.
with yes, it is with just 6/4. So which is correct because it's going by stepwise. It's just 4/6/4, not 7th. That's
Yes, it's 4/6/4/7. Yes, exactly. Not 4/3. Very good, because it's not the seventh chord. The bass is taken. Very good, Georgios. It's not. I mean, it's taken by same note and it's abandoned. Yes, by step, which is fine because any 6/4 is put basically 6/4 there. Remember that the bass cannot be left. Yes, or approached by skip or leap. That's fine. The only little issue that I have is that this A will be transformed, prepared correctly, yes, to the seventh on the second, but you have this A going to the B, yeah, and it creates kind of a weird problem because you have one A, let's say, is going to be prepared, but the other one not. And I don't see any reason why you cannot put, you know, the chord maybe in reposition. Because if you put, let's think about it. I mean, I'm not saying that this is not the happiest movement. It's not the happiest movement. The third, but you have the D and the D, similar motion, step to the soprano, leap on the bass. um, and then everyone's happy. And then you have one note which will be prepared towards the second chord. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Yes, Georgios.
so. I agree, but I was thinking another thing now that on the 7th bar, and I will go back to the second. On the 7th bar, the way I rearranged it, I said to have the tenor and the alto more than an octave apart, which is a problem. We could have the tenor one octave up as well. It would be okay, but we have to put every tenor one octave up. That they're fine. But we probably have to do the bass also one octave up. In that case, the re there on the second bar would be a bit too high. On the 6th bar, if we had the re there, it would be just on the edge, just the climax, let's call it.
Yeah, that's a little bit too high.
I think it's just on the edge. And maybe exceptional because it's the 6th bar. But on the second bar, I wouldn't be able to excuse it. So that's why I have to say about that second bar, the root position maybe wouldn't work if it was one octave higher. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, if everything is one octave, if just the is a one octave higher, let's say that we do this. We have this problem. I mean, a little too much.
We probably have to do that as well.
Exactly. So, I mean, melodically, this works, and then what Gugu said is that, well, then we should do something drastic here. Everyone up. But you will have a bass that will hate you forever. I mean, the C note, yes, is kind of quite high for the, it's the highest comfortably, unless you have, you know, a very professional choir that you don't mind. If this, look, this will be heard like this. Now, even though we have a tenor that is screaming like, like a prima donna there, this layout, I would agree with Georgios. They're all very high, they're all very narrow, but they amalgamate, they blend much better. Yes? What do you think it is? After I see yours. We're just manipulating it. Yes? Over here.
No, I mean, I would have the bass on the bass. One of the,
You will what, sorry?
I would have the bass like as it was before. One of the sound
Oh, sorry.
power.
Yes. Yeah, the only thing is that if you do that, yes, if you do this, we have a problem with the distance between the voices. This voice is okay, it's a compound fifth, right? Then you have a compound six, you start having problems here. Compound six, maybe one compound six, then you have compound fifth again, then you have a compound fourth, okay. Compound fifth again, then you have compound fifth, very good. And this is, well, a little bit too
Yeah, I
much.
meant everything as it was before. meant like all of it, one of it.
Everyone wants to lower.
Yes, I meant that. You asked me like, what did I think, right?
The thing is yeah. We were talking about yes, absolutely. We're talking about the well, the voice lead in general. Yes, but you can not either. You see, the tenor. I would say I will suggest in a way these distances between tenor and alto get a little bit too big. Yes. If you see from G to E to F to A, yes, you're losing the middle ground, yes, the middle area, yeah, and the tenor and the bass are a little bit too cluttered between fourths and fifths. Yes, try to make them a little more separated in between. Yes, if not, the result is a little bit. It's not. It's not as clear as you can be as you can get. Yes, I mean to have it in mid is not the the best thing. It's played on the piano, but if you would sing this, or let's say that try to play with different instruments like strings perhaps. Yes, imagine that if you're in a choir, you would sing lyrics also with this. Yes, and the lyrics should sound a little clearer. Yeah. So that's why those were the options. Yes, they were same with Georgios. Yes, to have, I mean, the overtone series that we were talking, the famous overtone series, you can have from the bass to the tenor much greater distance, and then it will not produce any improper effect. Yes, because that is the nature of the sound. Yes, following from the first harmonic to the second harmonic, you have an octave, and then yes, a fifth, and then another double octave. So you have very, very, very far apart, yes, intervals. But then they get a third, a fourth, a second, a second, a second, a second, a second, yes, as you go along. Yeah. So in a nutshell, yes, it's a general advice, try to get the tenor a little bit away from the bass. Yes. At least, yes, an octave. Yes. Especially when you start. When you start, if you start in close position, at some point you're going to get yourself into a situation you don't want to be. They're going to if you start in a close position, you have to be very, very, very aware of the voicings. Yes, it's going to be difficult voice leading wise. Yes, but in general, very good. Yeah, and then last but not least, Mr. Georgios here. Now, Laura and Iris, yes, are up. Oh, interesting.
Can I say why it's interesting?
Yes.
Because I had to think a lot about this. I also fell in the trap of going too diatonically to the point that it sounds like I am on the major mode. And in the end, I'm clearly on the minor. So it's like I modulated, then very suddenly modulated back. But I don't think I broke any rules. So I said, oh, it's fine. I'll do it like this. Who said I cannot do that?
Exactly.
Yes.
Very good. Do you see, Laura and Iris, do you see the point that Georgios is saying? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, good. No, but maybe you did. Okay, in general, well, first of all, very well done, because it's very musical, yes. And, you know, let's say, the first goal, let's say, yeah, in a harmony, is to acquire a good sense of root progressions, structure, yes, and voice leading. But beyond that, when that is fine, yes, voice leading are referring to power faith, power octaves, the bay, cannot jump, those all those rules, yeah, the pivotal laws. But beyond that, yes, you have the next challenge in harmony is to actually build something that has musically a sense of direction. Because this exercise, I'm not trying to compare, oh yeah, you do better, you do worse. No, but I don't know if you perceive the same thing, but this is no longer an exercise, let's say, and this is very important to get in music because it has something else, which in music is very important, which is sense of direction. You see the difference between the first two, and now we have this one. And this one contributing element is telling us why, telling us very like the foreground, which contributing element, remember, the melody, sound, harmony, rhythm, growth, is given away that this has direction. Therefore, there's a musical phrase. If you have to decide melody, sound, harmony, rhythm, and growth, but yeah, okay, you did it.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I really don't think I have the answer. I'm guessing I have a rhythm.
Yes, exactly. Whenever you create a pattern that you follow, or not follow, or you do something contrasting, or you do a development on it, yes, but you have a rhythmic pattern, you have direction. Because you have a pattern. You can follow something, yes, but this is a good thing to take into account because it's so extremely important and it's so ingrained in our being rhythm. So we don't even consider it. But when you see the difference, because the other ones, yeah, not saying that better, worse, but the other ones had only semi-briefs. This added something else, added the rhythm, and that is clearly the difference between one and the other one. Yes, when you have a musical idea. Yes, because the musical idea is contained in rhythm. Rhythm contains everything. Contains the harmony because of the harmonic rhythm. Yes, how fast or how slow the pace in the course of we compose or we analyze. The surface rhythm is called the values. Yes, surface rhythm. the rhythm maybe of the sound when you're orchestrating something. Yes, if you spend some time in the strings and then some time in the rootings and you mix them together, yes, that is the rhythm of the sound. Or if you're in a, for example, a duo, piano, violin, and then they're answering back, piano, violin, violin, that is sound. Yeah, so rhythm contains, is a vessel, let's say. Yes, we cannot have, we can have rhythm without pitch, but we cannot have pitch without rhythm. Because rhythm contains. Yes, that's why it's so important. Okay, so very good. Here it is. In a nutshell. Rules apply. Yes, rules apply. You have the 6/4 going to the fifth, and like that. Then you have the good resolution here. Very good. Yes. This one, it's just a matter of curiosity. You started with a fast inversion. Would you like to, you know,
It's a second stage. I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a very, I mean, you could have done otherwise. You could have done something else.
Not really. It was more voice leading. I thought.
There you go.
Ah, yes.
That is what I want you to say. Because
choice. I want to start with first inversion. The second phrase, it's I'm going with first inversion. That's okay. It gives this kind of character. I go with it. The voices led me there. Yes.
Exactly. I agree. But also when you see inversions, either when you see them, analyze.
Correct something. Sorry. The third chord is 6 first inversion. It was 1 and then I changed it. I forgot to do the third chord. The third, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Sorry. I can't stop singing. It's no 6 first inversion. Yes, we're in Sol. We're in G major, G minor.
Ah, yeah. Sorry, I'm stupid. There you go. At the same time that we're correcting the exercises, I'm looking at the other screen because the internet has been so awful, and I'm checking. And I'm checking if we're live or not, and so we're doing this. So I'm not, fully in the game today.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So, but very good. I mean, these are the nuances, the details that I really appreciate, and we appreciate in the works, yes, of other composers, yes, that this the use the true use of inversions is when you have a purpose. Yes, as you said, I want this to be in the first inversion because it's not, it's the beginning of the sub phrase. So I will put inversion because the one, yes, the tonic, gonna be that strong. So that's why I'm going to put inversion. So that is why the contributing elements really contribute to something. Yeah, and let's be honest, is if we are handling the harmony, the contributing elements are contributing to the form. Yes, to the form. That is the ultimate goal. Yeah, that's why when we study with Juan, he pays so much attention to it, and you know that very well. Yeah. But every single element, and we in counterpoint and harmony, we're trying to figure out how, through harmony and counterpoint, can we contribute? Yes, because analysis and composition is kind of the big picture. These are kind of the tools that we have available. Yes, but always consider the higher goal, which is to either to like Laura to truly understand the form. Yes, from something that is given to her. Yes, because you have to, in order to be a good performer, Yes, you have to understand what you're playing. If not, you're playing note by note by note by note by note by note. That's, you have to have very clear the idea of the composer. And these nuances that we're seeing is also, as a performer, what you have to see, because this is the language, yes, that we are handling. And if you're a composer, well, it is. You say, okay, my phrase is a subphrase, so I'm not going to use a reposition because the chord, I don't want the chord to be so important there. It has to flow. Why? Because then at the beginning, at the end, surprise, surprise, we have the chord in reposition. Okay, good presentation, good at the 7th, yes. In this case, I was going to wait. Also, something I have to observe is that, but I will connect with counterpoint. There's subsidiary climaxes, something that we talked about because we are the weavers here, you know. We talked in counterpoint, in 4th pieces, which I will gently remind you that today, yes, we have the deadline of the first pieces for tomorrow. And we talked about subsidiary peak notes or subsidiary climaxes. Remember in the first pieces, we have the climax here.
I understand what it means.
Yes.
Can you tell me the word so I can fully understand the term? Because I know the meaning, but I don't know the word. How do you spell it?
Subsidiary.
Yes, so I can find some synonym or something. Sub.
Sub, like sub. S-U-B, sub.
D-R-E.
S-I-D-I-A-R-Y. I think I spelled it correctly.
Like,
Sub, S-U-B.
Kind of like secondary.
Yes, yes, kind of secondary, but it's not the same meaning. Because it's
helping.
Secondary, I mean, look, the word sub in Latin is below. Yeah.
Distinct, maybe.
Exactly. Well, yes, not so important, but they are below. Yes, those notes are below the peak. Yes.
Yeah.
And then it helps actually, yes, to get to that. They support the idea of the, subsidiary.
Good.
Yeah. That is in the, more specifically, if you want to find it, is in the counterpoint composition, the study of voice leading Felix Seltzer. I have no clue in which page, but it's in the chapter of the first pieces, and he talks about that. It's how to get, yes. We saw. I mean, I mentioned it last lesson, but if you want to just go to the source, it's there in that book, and the chapter of the first pieces he talks about that. Yeah. But in this case, what it's saying is, well, you have an E, it's D, D, E, going, yes, you see that you have the melody goes down a little bit, because that's a cadence, stop, yes, halt. And then it builds up. Exactly, yes, so you have a good build up, yes, subsidiary climaxes, yeah, like this one. Okay, Georgios, amazing, fantastic.